So here we go, everybody. Welcome to another video on Kings of Anglia. I'm your host, as ever, Roscoe, and I'm joined by good old Ben, Diaf, and Peachy as we reflect on a month of February for town. A month of draws, old wounds opened, a wounded fan base, Morsey incident, and all that sort of stuff. But an unbeaten month in the league. Good old Ben Diaf, going to go over to you first of all. How's things, and how do you look back at February? You had a good month as a whole in February as a person?
Hi, Ross. Very well, thank you, mate. Obviously, town on the pitch, February, maybe frustrating February, to use a little bit of alliteration. But overall, as a person, I'm very well. Yeah, no complaints. I think it's been mentioned possibly before. My wife is we're getting close to having our first baby. There's lots of prep for that. That's not too far away now. So I'm trying to tone down the sort of drinking and sort of doing all the things that maybe or getting into father mode, maybe more. Got another month to go. So if you see me in a pub in Ipswich after April, I shouldn't be, just so you know. Yeah. But yeah, all good, mate. Looking forward to talking a bit of town with two fine gentlemen as yourself and Peachy.
Indeed. And good old Peachy is here. Looking good, my friend. How's things? How was your February?
February's February. I think it's one of the most boring months of the year. I like to get January and February out of the way, get on March, roll into spring, into summer. Yeah, again, like Ben said, it was like I say, a frustrating February. Not as bad as I think some people have made out, but I look forward to discussing it with you fine gentlemen.
Yes, indeed. Let's get right into it then, boys. Of course, we had league games, but we also had the Burnley game. I thought, actually, you know what? We're going to jump to the Burnley game quickly before we get into the league games, because that's the more important points. Of course, we had a replay, FA Cup replay that we didn't want in Burnley. Had to go up to Turf Moor. But that was just a good performance against a good championship side. Ben, Peachy, sort of just your quick thoughts on that. You know, it's been mentioned many times, but that was just a nice little fixture in this month.
I think we did ourselves really good justice in both games, but especially the away one, because we went 1-0 down. Everyone probably thought the worst. I want to get a Tonkin here, but we got straight back into it, and we were a very good match. And let's face it, they're a Premier League side in waiting, as people have said. So that really put us on a good pedestal to think if we can get out of this league, or when we get out of this blooming league, we'll definitely hold our own in the Championship. I don't know how Ben feels about that.
Yeah, it was another good indicator. Obviously, we had the Rotherham game in the previous round against the Championship side. But it shows that, as I think has been talked about quite a bit about all this forward planning, and with the McKenna and Ashton interview that the club put out last week, which was very good, by the way, I thought, you know, this plan that we've got in place is not just for now, it's definitely for the future. So the way that we do play football, the new pitch in the summer, you know, you go to Burnley's pitch and the way that we can ping the ball around on that slick surface, we look absolutely brilliant from everything I saw of it. And credit to all the fans that went as well. It's another sort of theme, I think, of this month of how good our fan base is. Of course, that comes to crescendo with the 7,000 at the weekend. But yeah, like PG, I feared the worst. 1-0 down away to Burnley. You're thinking, God, this could really sort of throw us off for our league campaign, but we really held our own. It sounds like it was an absolutely fantastic performance for 90 minutes. So yeah, I found it a welcome distraction. I really enjoyed having a cup run this year. I really enjoyed going to Bracknell and going to the home games. The Rotherham game I enjoyed as well. So I think it's good for us, and I think we've got a large enough squad to cope, and let's hopefully see that come sort of towards the end of the season, that the squad is still in good shape fitness wise.
Indeed. Let's talk about the league then. As you said, it was a welcome distraction. I enjoyed that there's FA Cup games. But yeah, in between that, we had draws of plenty. First off, against Cambridge, a 1-1 draw. Not a good performance. Probably put out there as maybe McKenna's worst game as a manager in terms of performance. But 1-1 draw. Ben, you were there. Thoughts on that one? Again, just reflections on that. It was a frustrating afternoon.
It was. Sometimes just sort of, you know, when you're driving to work and things pop into your head, and it actually came into my head this morning, just driving to work, and just what a pivotal moment that was that Walton saved the penalty. Because, God, can you imagine we lost that game? And they've been absolutely rubbish since that game, Cambridge. You know, I know that players and teams get up for it against Ipswich, and you know, it's a sellout crowd at the Abbey, and it's a huge game for them. But every game's a huge game for us, and we didn't look like we were up for it, that particularly the first half. It was very, very worrying. I mean, I actually did stand next to Peachy that day, and we were just distraught, I think, really, with what we were seeing. I mean, thanks God, Christian Walton with brilliant penalty save. Maybe that was a turning. You don't know if it's a turning point in the season because we still only drew, but that draw, you know, if you get promoted or playoffs third 1 point, that could be absolutely vital. Because I think we didn't look like coming back from 1-0 down, let alone 2-0 down. So yeah, it was a very odd performance, as you said, Ross. The worst under McKenna, which is hopefully that will be the worst we'll ever see under McKenna.
Definitely. And we had a nice curry, though. We had a nice curry that evening.
We did.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, so we could just sort of ignore the game. Peachy, then, we, of course, had a big game at Portman Road against Sheffield Wednesday, a massive crowd for League One. You know, it's no surprise now with Town fans packing out Portman Road, but massive crowd. And we're 2-0 down against Sheffield Wednesday, but thankfully we came back. Yeah, that was a massive game after the Burnley, of course, replay.
Yeah, I think, especially after drawing 1-1 at Cambridge, thought we really need to win that game. Because I said after the Cambridge game, I thought top two are gone. But on the Sheffield Wednesday game, like, it was lots of turning points that game. It was very cagey at the start. We got the penalty, and we missed it, obviously. You know, not Chapman's finest moment in a Town shirt, bless him. And then we sort of like just lost it a little bit. And then like 4-0, 1-0 down, great cross, great header. Second goal came soon after. And then Wednesday had that one chance that changed the game, when Matt Smith, it sort of was it Wolfie and Walton mixed up. Ball dropped to Matt Smith. Why he's not hitting that first time, I don't know, because that's 3-0, game's done. Portman Road, the crowd has turned. It could have got, personally, it was getting a bit toxic before that. Luckily, it didn't score. And then Broadhead hit a lovely free kick. One of the best free kicks I've seen at Portman Road, probably since Jimmy Juan. And and then after that goal, there was only one team winning that game, in my opinion. That was us, because Leif Davis got the early goal in the second half. We had plenty of chances. I mean, admittedly, Sheffield Wednesday had that one chance where we just left 6 foot whatever Aidan Flint on his own, just a wander in at the back post. It's like, here you go, on a plate. Luckily, he missed it, and his second, it come back to him, didn't it? And he just sliced it across goal. And then Big Fred had a great chance at the end to make it 3-2, but just wasn't to be. But I think it was more impressive the fact that for how we started and how the crowd were turning, and we pulled it back to 2-2. You know, showed great character in the team, in my opinion. And then hopefully I thought it set up for Bristol Rovers away. But
yeah, that was a game. I think everyone sort of penciled that in. That would be the maybe the hardest game in terms of going somewhere away from home. You know, Joey Barton's side, they're always tricky. And Ben, it wasn't a great game down in Bristol. A goalless draw. Once again, one of those games up there is one of McKenna's worst games in charge. Of course, very toxic away end because of the performance, Morsey's incident, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, reflections on that one after a few weeks since then. We've had, of course, 2 wins since then, but yeah, it wasn't a good evening.
No, it's actually quite interesting to take so many things away from a 0-0 away draw. I thought watching the game, it was a bit like a cup tie in terms of we dominated the possession. It wasn't a very good pitch. We kept pushing, but against a really well organised, back 4, 5, 6. And then when they played on the break, they did carry a threat, which you do often see in those sort of 3rd, 4th round ties. You know, if you've got a big bloke up front and you can just nail it up to, and obviously Collins has got a bit of pace as well up top. He's a tricky player. But we didn't play very well, and we had that when Wolfenden cleared it off the line, and Rovers could have lost. There's another game we could have lost. So there's certainly some character in the squad, like Peachy just said. Losing to Cambridge, we come out of a draw. Losing to Sheffield Wednesday, come out of a draw, and another day we'd have lost that Rovers game. But with those 3 results, not singling them out, but together, that led to the reaction after the game and Morsey coming over, and you can understand it from both sides. Like, I totally get it from professional footballers get an awful lot of stick. They get paid a lot of money. Personally, I'm in the camp of that. I don't think at any point ever does it help booing your side during the 90 minutes. Not really when you're trying to push for promotion after the game either. That is a personal opinion. Football is brilliant because it's a game of opinions. So look, if fans want to boo that you pay your money, etc. But I just think, at that moment, it probably wasn't helpful. However, he's then apologised the next day, and it could have been turned into bring us closer together even as a fan base. And since then, we've had 2 good wins, 7,000 at MK. So who knows? It could be another moment in our season that we look back on and think, you know what, maybe that wasn't such a bad thing.
Definitely. I know, Peach, you mentioned you want to sort of say something about Bristol Rovers, so take it away.
Yeah, I think on Morsey coming over the fans, again with Ben, I see it on both sides, but I think I'm good at this. Well, I think sometimes fans forget players don't deliberately go out there and have a bad game. It's just you're not going to play well every game, blah blah blah. The rest. But for me, after that Bristol Rovers game, in my opinion, the overreaction on social media. If you were like a random fan looking at our timeline, you thought we'd just drop the relegation zone. I know we've had many frustrating years and the cuts run deep, but I just logged out my Twitter. I was like, this is just, I can't be dealing with this. I know it's negative, but it was just such an overreaction. Like the way some people are going, like, we're not going to get the playoffs or this, blah, blah, blah. I know I've already said we're not getting top 2, but as Ben said, you need to get behind the lads, in my opinion. If I was at work and someone's shouting at me, "Oh, you're doing a rubbish job on the forklift, Chris," or this, or "You're rubbish," it's not going to really fill me with confidence to carry on doing my job, is it? Yeah. And as I say, they are paid loads of money, but anyway, forget that. On to Forest Green. Was another.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, let's just talk about them. Is 2 games, MK Dons and Forest Green, because they were must-win games. We couldn't lose them. We could not lose them. I think Stu went must not lose games. And back-to-back wins for the first time since October. Yeah, Peachy, sort of take it away in terms of your thoughts on both of those games. Good crowd against MK, of course. The away fans are brilliant. And yeah, just wins and goals and 2 clean sheets.
Yeah, well, I said made it with the Bristol game, made it 3 clean sheets in a row, didn't it? But Forest Green was just a professional performance, in my opinion. We got the early goal, and typically Forest Green did what I thought they'd do. They'd just try and stay in the game. They'd slow it down and try and win a free kick, obviously get an equaliser like other teams have done, unfortunately. But then we got the second. And then after that, Forest Green it was damage limitation for them. So my only gripe with that game was I had a bet on 5-0 and Big Fred misses that sitter at the end, but I can let him off. And then MK Saturday was just brilliant. 7,000 fans. The atmosphere I thought was fantastic. The noise we made, and I don't want to have a go at MK, but there's no way there was more MK fans than us. That attendance, there's a little typo there, I think. Mm-hmm. But the performance was good. In the first half, obviously they had them, 5 chances in like 10 seconds. Yeah. And, when I look back at that, I still don't know if Wolfie's blocked or if it's hit the post. But there are 2 crucial saves from Christian Walton again. Like this, he saves the first one. It's how quick he gets up to save the second one. And then, luckily for us, the MK midfield defence give Morsey the freedom of the pitch and he rifles a shot. And it's one of them where the ball hits the net. And it takes a second for the crowd to realise and cheer. And then second half, we bossed it. Should have scored more. We didn't, but it doesn't matter. We got the 1-0 win, back-to-back wins. And it sets us up ready for the start of March 2 crucial home games.
Indeed. And Ben, sort of just to round off the month, your verdict, my friend. I'll let you have the verdict. I'm giving you the power. Sorry, Peachy. That's how it segued. It's just segued into Ben to give his verdict on 9 points, some draws, some frustrating moments. But unbeaten month on paper. It's not too bad, but frustration a little bit there.
Definitely frustrated and slightly disappointed. I think beginning of the month, we have more points. I think fans looked at it and we have more points on paper than, we've not ended up getting. However, because of those 2 wins in a row now, we've got these 2 home games coming up. I think we are going into it with more positive feeling than certainly we were halfway through the month. So feeling positive now, but I think overall, as I said at the beginning, it was a frustrating February. I still got a really good feeling about the squad. Like moving into spring, we will, the bodies are just getting, other squads are going to suffer, I think, and I think we will hopefully come into our own. So I'm feeling positive, Ross. But then I often am, so that,
That's why we love you, my friend. You're the positive man to make sure we're, keeping ourselves level. I think that's what you've got to do. Peachy, Ben mentioned about the squad. Let's talk about the squad as a whole then. Players have scored some good goals. Who is your player of the month? Shout out a few names, but who is getting your award?
Shout out a few names. I think obviously Walton for his penalty save at Cambridge. He's not everyone's cup of tea for some reason. He's kept 3 clean sheets. That double save against MK Dons. I think Leif Davis has had a really good month. But I'm actually going to pick out Sam Morsey. He seemed to, because he had a bit of a rough December, January, but he seemed to rekindle his form and started, in my opinion, a lot of games controlling midfield. Some people will disagree, but for me, Sam Morsey is a leader, and he has led this team, in my opinion, quite well. Because at Cambridge United 2-0, at 1-0 the penalty, a lot of heads dropped, and I could see him rallying the players up, saying, "Come on, nothing's not all lost." Same at Sheffield Wednesday, especially when Matt Smith missed that chance. You could see some players just ran. There's some players have ran to each other, but Sam Morse said, "Look, everyone, just calm down, play our own game," and we got back into it. That's how who Mr. Diaz thinks was our best player this month.
I mean, it seems like it's either Morsey or Davis most months, and quite rightly so. They've been very consistent, particularly Morsey. I mean, and sometimes I think it's been mentioned by your esteemed colleagues, Ross, that he is sometimes criticised because he has such a high standard. If he doesn't reach that high standard, people just expect that of him every single week, which really in a 46-game season is impossible. So his consistency is superb, and I would normally have... Well, no, I do agree with Peachy to a certain extent, but it'd be boring if I didn't throw someone else in. And it's someone he didn't mention, so that's good. But apart from the Cambridge United game, I think he played 90 minutes in every other league game. And I still think he's our best defender, and that's Wolfie. Look, there are some games where he still looks a bit dodgy, but he's always going to give away a puck. I mean, the Premier League players do it. The ones that play out from the back. He's had 2 unbelievable clearances off the line. We've had 3 clean sheets in a row. He is... as I said, best defender. I would personally play it a bit differently. I would have given it to Wolfie.
That's fine. Yeah, everyone they can have their own award. So Peach has gone for Morsey. You've gone for Wolfie. I'm swaying with Morsey, but I want to bring a shout out to Nathan Broadhead. His first month as a Town player. Signing in January. I thought he's had a good month. Scored. Has he scored 2 goals, or am I making that up? Was he scored 3 goals?
He's scored 2, hasn't he?
Yeah,
so, he's
against Forest Green volley and the free kick against Sheffield Wednesday. A couple of assists as well.
Also, sorry, a special mention. I thought Burgess as well. Since he's come back into the side against Sheffield Wednesday. I know we conceded 2 that day, but at Milton Keynes away, every ball that came into that box, he was heading it out. It was Burgess every single time. I think he deserves a special mention.
Definitely. He's been fantastic since getting that injury and coming back. So big up, good old Cam. All right then, boys. I think that is it. February reflections done. But I'm putting you on the spot. Ladies and gentlemen, putting Ben and Peach on the spot in one word to just your thoughts on February in one word to explain it all. Ben, Peachy, I always do this. The 3 words. You get 3 words if you want. How many words you want in terms of,
how long we got? After you, Mr. DF.
Yeah, it's not great airtime. There were a few pauses on the main pod today, and I thought, whatever you do when you speak to Ross later, don't pause for more than a couple of seconds because it's terrible if someone listens to this as a podcast and not just on YouTube. I said frustrated February is alliteration. I mean, frustrating is a very obvious one, but it really was. But also, it sort of just left you for a long time deflated, and then we're up again. So again, as Ronan Keating would say, it was a roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster, and so is being an Ipswich Town fan. We were up at the beginning, thinking we were going to go on this amazing run. Then after Cambridge, we were down. Then we were down further 2-0 till Sheffield Wednesday. Then we're up again 2-2. Then we're down after Rovers, and we're back up again now. So come on, Town.
Love it.
That sort of contradicts my. It got better.
Yes.
We got obviously a draw, win, and 3 clean sheets. But obviously, we wanted more out of the month. But I touch wood now. I think we sort of stopped our little blip. Well, I'll say it was a bit more of a blip that we're having. Took ages to win 2 games back to back, and I didn't realise we'd not won away in the league since November.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure it's what Stu said on the main pod. So, after the game, we've not won in the league. I could be wrong.
November. I trust you.
November the 19th, Exeter City 2-0. That's when we last won away.
Wow. Or I think the Forest Green Rovers game wasn't the first time we won a 3 p.m. kickoff on a Saturday for a while as well. So thing. So those stats are racking up. But there we go. Yeah, sorry, boys. Put you on a spot there. I thought that was a nice little feature to add to the podcast, the video. But yeah, that's it. Any other business, Ben, Peachy? March is going to be an interesting month. We've got 2, you say, must-win games and winnable games against Accrington and Burton. But then we've got Barnsley. No, we haven't got Barnsley. Yeah, we have got
Bolton. Bolton on the 18th, and then Barnsley on the 25th for just 2. Sorry, Bolton on the 11th, then the home game Shrewsbury, away to Barnsley. 3 huge games.
Huge games. So there we go. Any other business, or should we wrap up here as we get into a nice, solid 20-minute mark?
They're all big games. Doesn't really matter. Got to win the next 2, but no time for complacency. Just take every game as it comes, to use that football
Yeah.
analogy.
And without sounding arrogant, we need to get 9 points, in my opinion, from our 3 home games, and then Bolton and Barnsley. That's just going to be a roller coaster game. That is them two. I'll take draws in both, to be honest.
Yeah, we shall see then. Of course, I'll bring you more videos. I'll probably bring you predictions for March, so stay tuned for that. But thanks, Ben. Thanks, Peachy, for joining me. Thanks, everyone, for watching. If you haven't already, leave a comment, subscribe, like, and all that sort of stuff. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye for now.